take your clicker.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know if it was the end of the day and I was part of natural disasters that I'd be the representative, but y'all, such incredible advice, and it is true. And I think as we think about particularly COVID-19, the most difficult part of it is we weren't used to dealing with something that was so prolonged and ever-changing. And so the playbook on that was certainly different for all of us, but you all have gone through so much, and congratulations on your leadership. So today I'm really going to focus on, for us at Georgia Southern University, what it meant to build a culture of high performance, evidence-based leadership, and really focusing on our people. Now, you're going to hear me talk a lot about our people and what we've done to align that, to align the goals, to move the needle in improvement, and really, as you see, people, culture, service, improvement, falling through that. But I want to make sure the through line is always to the outcome of students at the end of the day. And it is truly the belief and the understanding that if we do create an environment where every single one of our employees, our faculty and staff, come to work every single day and are aligned with what we're trying to achieve and believe in that, that will create an environment where students will be successful, and we'll propel that, and so the outcomes are the same, but maybe a little bit of different twist on it. So I'm gonna go, I got 28 slides in 30 minutes. You ready? Y'all ready? Here we go. I'm pretty famous for that, actually. All right, so 3 campuses, 27,091 students, very different campuses. Post-consolidation, 2017 announced Armstrong State University with Georgia Southern University. Georgia Southern University, founded in Statesboro 1906, Armstrong 1935 in Savannah. About 5,200 students in Savannah, about 18,900 face-to-face students in Statesboro, about 500 in Hinesville, and 2,500 online. Big institutions, Statesboro traditional, 3,000 Greek students, FBS athletics, Eagle Nation, Georgia. There you go. So that's how it is. So that's what we do and in Statesboro. Then you have Armstrong, Atlanta, very much a feeling, almost a small public liberal arts feeling, a sense of community, a part of a historic city of which people, mostly commuters, would go. I mean, we have 5,000 students living on campus at Statesboro. Then Hinesville, just outside of Fort Stewart Army Base, in essence a startup for us to have the initiation of alignment with military opportunities, but then also those place-bound first and second year students, associate degree type students. So very different missions, different faculty, all came together. 2019, it went perfectly. Everybody loved each other. It was great. It was no problems whatsoever. End of presentation. So that was a little stressful, clearly, but we made it through, and that's who we are and who our institution is. A lot of distinctives, but I won't go into all of those. So where were we? Where are we? And I think, you know, I started where were we, and it's really where we are also. So my first 90 days, April 1st of 2019, was the largest budget cuts in the history of the institution because the enrollment had tanked, basically without a direction or who we were as an institution post-consolidation. So it lost about 1,200 to 1,500 students in just a couple years. So within that time, the next year, et cetera, because formula always delays a year or two, we've had 34.1 million recurring, 302 positions eliminated, 10.3 million in operations, and another 15 million we were able to go a little bit deeper. I was part of the comprehensive administrative review for the system. I led that for 2 years. I was very popular when I led that. And we went through and we looked for operational efficiencies for 2 years in all 26 institutions. So I knew a lot where there could be opportunities for organizational effectiveness, efficiencies that would help us through this. But like so many of the stories you heard before, we had to make some pretty significant decisions, but we went deeper, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. Of course, we traversed the uncertainty of COVID-19. We did our own contact tracing. We trained our own contact tracers. We made our way through that, testing vaccines. We committed to be agents of change because this was an institution, particularly Statesboro, Georgia Southern, that, and I'm not afraid to say this out loud because if you don't say it out loud, you don't tackle it, that had a reputation. Basically, for about a 3 or 4 year period, we had a flashpoint incident, racially charged incident. And so that was something we needed to address head on, full on, and for me, that was something that we were dedicated to and became part of our strategic plan. We're innovative, flexible, nimble, I'll talk about that, and willing to lead change through that. We aligned our mission, vision, values, and relevance in changing times, and then we really did a different thing within our strategic plan. We talked about aspirationally, what would be our greater impact, and so our vision statement is people, purpose, action, growing ourselves to grow others. Why is that kind of different? Usually a vision statement is we aspire to be the best recognized institution for yada, 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 right? We wanted to really focus on our people with the definition of our students, number one, our faculty and staff, and our communities we serve to have great impact, to improve their lives in some way. And then the purpose was every day, alignment of that purpose, what we're going to achieve, our goals, our aspirations, and then the actions that will hold ourselves accountable in a constant state of growth and improvement, not growth just in numbers, but improvement of processes and everything we do, not for our own sake, but then have impact on others, to grow others. So it became meaningful for us as we made decisions leading from our values to our stated goals. So our successes, we innovated, we made it through. We did all these things in COVID-19 like many of you, and we're very proud of that. We grew during this time. 4%, 2 record freshman classes in a row, 5,200 students fall of 2020, 5,400 freshmen the next year. So nothing like full residence halls, everything right in the midst of COVID. So it was difficult for us. When we opened in fall of 2020, I was part of a 5 presidential team at the university system, and Stuart really ran the whole thing. We had so many meetings with that, and we were just making crap up. We really were trying to figure it out. I hate to say it, but we were. We had the scientific stuff, but who had ever done this before? And so many of us in a traditional campus environment, particularly Statesboro, Georgia Southern, we needed to open in the midst of this while we had students flocking to us because they wanted to be as much in person as we could, but still with the safety of our students primary, the continued retention progression of their degrees secondary, and then the fiscal sustainability of the institution as our focus. So we had a post-consolidation retention rate, record to the institution. That's going to wobble a bit down here for us, but we do have record 4- and 6-year graduation rates that have come out of this for our sector, the highest in our sector. We had record annual faculty research awards. In fact, last year we posted NSF HERDS $37.2 million. That's double higher than any other history in our institution. On our way in 3 years that we'll be on the precipice of R1. Record fundraising. This year we're going to finish with $22 million in fundraising, and our first ever comprehensive capital campaign. We're about $51 million and counting and moving our way that way. We completed facilities projects, about $150 million of facilities that we continued with our growth, with our trajectory through all of this. And we really wanted to press into what it would be evidence-based wise for us as a cabinet to really grow around inclusive excellence. And for us, that meant really, what would it mean if we went through training? And so we elected to do the Certified Diversity Executive Training, which is in the part of the Institute of Diversity Education, and we're the only cabinet in the United States of America that the entire cabinet went through this, and it was 20 plus hours of instruction and a test. We had to take a test, and we all had to pass it, which was kind of terrifying, but we did, and we grew from that along this way. I do want to talk about my leadership team because they've been through with me through this journey, and at our table here, I want you all to wave to everybody. They're here today, and what they've really helped me do is find the path through all of this together, so I want to thank them for that. So I use this slide. This is an old slide that I've used in the past when I've been here at a Studer conference, and I pulled it back up and I went, same challenges, right? Higher ed climate, our consolidation was disruption. Then these 3 in the middle are really the question that's been heightened, particularly through COVID, right? Relevance, value of higher ed, return on investment. That is a question now that we talked about all day, but we have to solve, and as we move forward, we have to tell our story. I think Brendan even said it. Our graduates will earn more money throughout the entirety of their life, but we aren't permeating the market with that story enough to really engage. Accountability throughout everything we do, that's demanded. It's demanded of our institution. And then really these 3 areas that were challenging us, COVID-19, budget, social unrest. Now I'll add also just our ability to retain and recruit employees within this, and then enrollment because of the market we talked about earlier. So more challenges along this way. Our solution is to invest in our people. Again, always with the goal of our students being successful at the end of the day, to create that environment. That's the ultimate outcome, but my belief and press into this is really that for us, we need to make an environment where students can succeed inside the classroom and life, and to create engagement, we need to ensure that all contributors understand their value and contribution. Value and contribution. As human beings, what do we strive for? We want to know we're valued. We know that we matter, that when we come to work every day, what we do really matters. It's important. It's aligned to the goals at the unit department level. And then this next slide, really around this whole cultural aspect of it, is the last paragraph. The goal is to build an environment where people know what to do every day. Can you say everybody at your campus, because you're so clear on that job expectation, that the supervisor is trained to know exactly what is the expectation of this job and the outcome of that job? Are we that clear from onboarding all the way through our processes? Why they're doing it? Why is their job so important? Have you identified the goals of the unit, the department, the division, in alignment with the strategic plan of the institution so they know why they matter every single day? So what to do, why they're doing it, and what, at the end of the day, if they're doing what they're asked to do and they know why they're doing it, what it accomplishes, so they feel like they are part of the success of the unit, the department, the institution. That, if you take anything away from my next 20 slides, that's the most important thing right there. If you're successful at that level of your institution, you will be successful in your planning and part of solution making. So this is our strategic plan, 6 values, concentric circle, then with our 5 pillars: teaching and research, student success, inclusive excellence, operational efficiency, community engagement, and the center of it is the culture, the people. Because no matter how brilliant this living document plan is and all the alignment that we have with the scorecards that I'll talk about in a minute, nothing matters if the people aren't engaged and aligned and understand their value and the purpose around what we're trying to achieve. So how do we hold ourselves accountable? Because if the leaders don't, if you don't practice evidence-based leadership, then why are they going to follow you? Doesn't matter how smart you are, but if you aren't holding yourself accountable. So every year, and we publish this outward-facing, georgiasouthern.edu/performance-excellence. Right here, public to see, the last 3 years of scorecard data. You've heard about scorecards. This is our results. As I told the team, we probably didn't have high enough goals because we achieved over 3.0 on everything across all 11 of our cabinet members in each of the areas. It represents about 54 KPIs. A lot of them are shared along that way, but within different lenses and perspectives. What we also do public-facing is our 90-day actions. All 11 of our cabinet members put our 90-day actions, what we're doing within that quarter, and then at the column on the right, we assess how we did. If we completed it, is it still in progress, what happened, and we do a dashboard at the end of how much we completed of those 574 tasks, what we completed, and how we're doing on that, and we assess it continuously. We have our SACS reaffirmation coming up. We're golden, because we have this organizationally throughout the entirety of the enterprise, and it's public. You can look at it. You can see last couple years what we're doing, and we align that throughout the institution. So sustaining, how do you get this once you've gotten the framework? Because we have committed senior leadership. We have a sense of urgency. We have a plan. We have a vision and mission. We're commitment. These 2, 3 right there, commitment to transparency, commitment to active communication, and rewarding, celebrating success. If you want accountability, you better have those 3. You have to have those 3. I'm probably overly transparent. Stuart knows this. I mean, I'm probably the one institution, if anything, I have to be told, don't tell them that. This is confidential. And it's because I'd rather them lose the same sleep I'm losing every single day. It's therapeutic for me. It has nothing to do with them. It's completely therapeutic for me, but this is what we do. I mean, I meet with Faculty Senate Executive Committee every 2 weeks. No agenda. I meet with Staff Council every 2 weeks. I know it's a lot of time, but it gets us through a lot of the hard stuff I talked about and where they understand the why. Commitment to active communication, our celebrating success, I'll talk about that in a minute, and consequences. So, we focused on engagement and how we'd get there, right, along this journey. So this is a busy couple slides, but I'm going to go really quickly. Our senior leadership scorecards, that was the way we could communicate to everybody at the institution exactly what we were doing, what was important, how they could see themselves in that along the institution. We also made sure that we were willing to put our money where our mouth is. In other words, all of our budget processes begins in August for the next fiscal year, starts at the bottom up with decisions made at the department level, unit level, throughout the entirety of the institution. Then that department chair or that unit manager or director has to say what priorities are due and communicate it back with their department or unit. Because how many of you have department chairs or unit or even deans, or as you go up, they say, oh, that was the provost, he made that decision, or she made that decision, or that was the president that made it. No, each one has to own the decision making along that way and communicate it. And then when we get to the end of the entire prioritization process, we present it at faculty, senate, staff council, and post it line by line what we're going to ask for. Then when we get whatever allocation or whatever deduction, we do the whole dog and pony again, and we post it online. It's right there. You can all see it. It suddenly took the money arguments out of the way. As hard as they were, because as I said, 35 million in reductions are not easy, but they saw the how, the why, and that got us through it. We aligned our goals throughout the division, everything we were doing throughout every part of the institution. We also commit to these LDIs that I'll talk about in a second, and in that, we gave everyone the Myers-Briggsian Golden Personality Test. We put them in CMGs, different personalities, and worked on their growth areas of which individually and corporately they could work together. So we have 15 CMGs with 70 leaders that hold themselves accountable to both individual and corporate growth along that way. Then we also provided team structures, crazy about it, our inclusive excellence teams, communication, our university strategic planning, KPIs, assessment, all working together so that they could see their part in this, and they change out every 2 years so it really permeates throughout the organization so you get them engaged. Our annual employment engagement survey, I'll talk about that, our second iteration, the rollout of those survey results I'll talk about, and then really with that, our then celebration of behaviors that help us reward those, and we actually have financial awards, bonuses, we're only allowed that in the system, not full salary, but bonuses, and so we were able to go through that and really see and reward those that were having excellence within everything we're doing. And then the LDIs, what are those? I think many of you probably, if you're doing the Studer stuff, you're doing this. It's every quarter, and we commit to it. It's like going to the gym. We all have to develop ourselves. We have faculty development days. We have staff development days. It's continually pushing ourselves to be better iterations of ourselves to be the best we can be and continually learn along this journey. What we do when we always ask everybody, in all these exercises, you say, boy, that's a lot of busyness, Kyle. You got everybody moving, you got everybody busy. But what we always tell them from an adaptation and innovation question is this. Over the next 5 years, we perform exactly as we are in the past 5 years, will we get what? So we challenge them how to think this in a different way so that you can push the envelope in terms of our processes. Again, what to do every day, why they're doing it, how it helps us accomplish what we need to accomplish, and then be part of solution making. Use that energy, that intellectual energy, true shared governance, to help us improve, not to just stand at the water cooler and complain or wait till faculty senate, right? So really press into how do we get better together. So where are we? In the phases of organizational change, I don't know how many of you have seen this slide before, this type of slide with this. A few of you? Really small print, but really the honeymoon, I didn't have one, many of us didn't, so forget that. Reality set in quickly, right? The we, they, inconsistent, apparent, better, bigger challenge, more work than thought, this will impact me, change for all, some are getting it faster, some are not, and may not. And then that uncomfortable gap of transitional development of any organization. And in higher ed, this is usually where we fall apart, because we get that pressure back. And that's why, you know, Brendan and his leadership team and Natalie, what you all are doing is just so incredible because you're pushing through that screaming, uncomfortable gap because you know at the end of it we'll get consistency, high-performing results, everyone understands the keys to success, disciplined people and disciplined processes displayed in organization, proactive, not reactive, organizational leadership throughout. That's our goal. Where are we at Georgia Southern? We're just getting through that uncomfortable gap, seeing some glimmering hope along that way, but we haven't permeated in a large organization, 3,000 employees, 27,000 students, 3 campuses. That's the difficulty a bit in this size of organization, but we're getting there. So, did I push the wrong one? There we go. So this last year, when we got our employee engagement survey results, we really wanted to focus on what this could be really as we pressed forward and looked at our big rock areas. So we deployed the action plans, finished the survey. Everybody know what the action plans are, so you take the survey, you roll it out, and then we had 210 leaders with results throughout the organizations. They had 2 months then to put together with that rollout at least 2 to 3 actions. We documented them all. They were held accountable to do those actions. They had questions aligned with the survey itself to make sure that they could then actually see how they did in the second iteration of the survey. So in this first iteration, we really focused on communication. We just knew we weren't being effective in that way, the how, the why, the up, down, sideways. How could we do this coming out of COVID that would be most effective? Because certainly emails are so effective, and everybody reads them. So we really wanted to find a way that we could do this more effectively. We wanted to connect, listen, and engage in open, honest dialogue. We heard that really very much in the survey results. Our survey results in the first iteration, and I'll talk about that in a second, 770 pages of single-line comments. Talk about some line to get through, right? Took a little bit just to get through them all, but we posted them. They're posted. Every comment. This year, we went down to 440 pages. They're posted. Everybody can read them all. That's the best way I can do it, is if you're going to say something, you're saying it to everybody. Stand by it, and then we'll improve together. So we talked about really what it meant to be visible and physically there on a campus versus Zoom, which for 3 campuses, Zoom was really helpful, actually. It brought us together. But we knew that we needed to be present, particularly from a leadership perspective. We focused on professional development, career plans. We heard about that, people feeling stuck within their careers. And then we built trust. Now, trust is a squishy word, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute, and really how we can do that. And for successful engagement and communication, we knew we could be successful, at least building some modicum of trust, because if you don't have trust, how are you really going to propel an institution for adaptation and innovation at the end of the day? So as we looked at this and went forward, here was the second survey results, what they told us, okay? Don't you love it? Yeah, I love that picture. So I'm going to go really fast because we really were so pleased. Now, we still have huge amount of improvement and still need to press us forward, but look at those results from 2021 to 2022. Basically, within our 7 areas, engagement and opportunities really focused on the engagement. We saw growth and improvement to a 0.14 above to 4.14, alignment of our values, mission, vision, and pillars. Environment improved, 0.23, communication improved 0.37. That was huge for us, particularly in that kind of evolving post-COVID environment as we came through. Then you have the supervisor, department leadership we did the first time with just department chairs, institutional leadership, executive leadership, all went up. Only the president, only me, was the same. And then culture went up a little bit. The summary question's interesting because it went down. It was, would you recommend Georgia Southern as a place to work? And that went down. And so we're really exploring that again, and I think you heard that also from Scott and Ron in terms of what that is. But overall, up 0.18 to 3.8. And for us, for our size of institution, with about a 65% response rate, which meant about 1,800 of our employees that were eligible completed it. So we were very pleased with that. Now, it still had some areas of focus. In our last LDI we just had a couple weeks ago, we really focused on those areas of communication, specifically with the questions. We looked at where do we think we improve, where do we have gaps, why do those gaps exist, and we broke that down. We workshopped it at the tables, how we can improve as a leadership team with 70 of our leaders. We also looked at engagement, again, looking at these areas where we improved, but then the last question we went down, partly because we changed the question. The original question was, I am inspired to do my best work at Georgia Southern. We added, by my work environment, and it went down. So that's when we got very specific, because we wanted them to tie it into, are we providing that environment for you to do your best, and went down. So that's another area of focus and work for us. Our themes of what was working well, our DEI initiatives, interesting enough, is improvement was also application of some DEI efforts were questioned. And then as we went through, really it told us again that though we're improving a communication engagement, we still have issues around that. And for this DEI question, I want to just put a thought out there. You all are so much smarter than I am. I really want us to figure out how we can think of DEI as being a sense of belonging, a place of belonging, and engagement. True organizational effectiveness around that way. Can we achieve it within those goals without getting into all this political sphere and rethink those ideas a bit to the same outcomes? Because what we want is a place where everyone has equal opportunity, ability to be successful, to feel valued, to feel like you're part of something that they're important, and that their goals along that way, their career trajectories aren't impeded in any way. If we can achieve that and get away from what is then the areas of real impact, I think we'll be successful. But you said it perfectly, Richard. This is something we're still working on and driving. So I'm going to fly through some of this. No surprise, we decided at the end of the day, our big rocks are the same, but we got to dig deeper within this, and we developed our action plans. But I want to define trust real quick in the few minutes I have left. At least, I love this by David Horsager. Anyone read The Trust Edge before? Quick read, easy read, but I just love his definitions, because we talk about, oh, I just wish people trusted me as a leader or trusted what we were doing. Trust is gained by behaviors, clarity, compassion, character, competency, commitment, connection, contribution, and this last one, consistency. And as we think about that and think about how we evidence our leadership every single day, it's going to be critical that we do this. If in our engagement and communication we don't demonstrate these traits, how will we get to the goal of trust? And if you can achieve trust in your organization, you can really start to do innovative things. It's one thing for a leadership team at the cabinet level to say, this is what we're doing, we're aligned, we're pressing forward, we're doing innovative things. But I can tell you, when you have 3,000 employees and 27,000 students, do you think they're going to do everything I want them to do every day? No, they have to see their path in this and why it matters to them and their outcomes along that way, and they have to trust. Our bottom line in terms of accountability is always student success. How we get there, a continual process of communicating the why and the how, and asking how, what, and what if. Embrace the disruption. Remember, these efforts are to continuously improve, to transfer lives, sustaining this journey, to grow ourselves, to grow others. We'll communicate this is the way we do what we do, not in addition to what we do. Everyone feels like it's more work. No, it's the way we will work together. We'll embed it in all this in our normal life of the organization. We'll align it. Our challenge is to model and communicate how all this fits together and how we'll get there from here. And all the facets then of the plan, of this living, breathing document of this plan, then continue to be assessed and work together if at the center of it you engage your people and they know what to do every day, why they're doing it, and how it'll help the institution and these overarching goals be successful, and they feel valued and relevant in that journey. So thank you very much for your time today. I appreciate it.